Shemot chapter 25. The holiest object in the temple was the Aron, the ark. The cover of the ark had 2 Cruvim on top. What exactly is a Crov? The Cruvim first appear in Berashit chapter 3 after Adam and Chava are expelled from Gan Eden. ויגרש את האדם וישכן מקדם לגן עדן את הכרובים ואת להט החרב מתהפכת לשמור את דרך עץ החיים. בראשית פרק ג' pasuk כ"ד. It was driven out, and east of the Garden of Eden were stationed the cherubim, and their fiery, ever-turning sword to guard the way to the tree of life. The Torah does not give any explanation to what the Cruvim are in Berashit, except that they act as some sort of guard or gatekeeper. Shemot Rabbah explains that the Cruvim were angels of destruction. The Chazkuni adds that the very sight of the Cruvim would frighten anyone who glanced at the creatures. The rest of the mentions of Cruvim in the Torah refer mostly to those on the ark and on the curtains of the Mishkan. For example, in Shemot Kafkei Yudchet, V'asita shneim kruvim zahav mikshe ta'aseh otam mishnei ketzot hakaporet. And you shall make 2 Cruvim of gold, hammered work you shall make them, at the ends of the cover. Later, when Shlomo builds the Beit HaMikdash, he builds 2 giant Cruvim towering over the ark. Melachim Aleph, Perek Vav, pasuk Kav Zayin. ויתן את הקרובים בתוך הבית הפנימי, ויפרשו את כנפי הקרובים, ותיגע כנף האחד בקיר, וכנף הכרוב השני נגעת בקיר השני, וכנפיהם אל תוך הבית נוגעים כנף אל כנף. And he set the Cruvim inside the inner house, and they spread out their wings of the Cruvim so that the wing of one touched one wall, and the wing of the other cherub touched the other wall, and their wings touched one another in the midst of the house. Later, the Cruvim appear in Yechezkel's vision of the throne of Hashem in chapter 10 of Yechezkel, pasuk Chet. Vayar la Cruvim tavnit yad adam tacha kanfehem. And there appeared in the Cruvim in the form of a man's hand under their wings. And later in Yechezkel, pasuk Yudalid in Perek Yud, V'arba'a panim le'echad pnei ha'achad pnei ha'kruv u'pnei ha'sheni pnei ha'adam v'ashlishi pnei aryeh v'aravi pnei nesher. And each one of them had 4 faces. The first face was the face of a kruv, a cherub. The second face was the face of a man. The third was the face of a lion. The fourth was the face of an eagle. What the actual Cruvim looked like is unclear from the text. Rashi, working off the Aramaic word kruv, explains that the Cruvim had the face of a young child. Ibn Ezra is not as sure as he looks at the visions of Ezekiel and explains that the Cruvim seem to have different faces. Rashbam believes that the Cruvim had bird faces. Interestingly, Moshe must have understood what the Cruvim should look like based on the fact that the text itself does not provide any description of the face. Nechama Leibowitz highlights a paradox. The Torah forbids graven images, yet commands the Cruvim. She sees their vagueness as intentional, distressed symbolism over physicality. They represent God's presence and covenant, not in a literal form. Building on this idea, perhaps because the Cruvim walked that thin line between idol and the holiest object in the Mishkan and the Beit HaMikdash, the Torah was intentionally vague on their appearance. This is also why in the second temple, when the Aron itself was the only item in the second Beit HaMikdash that was not replaced. Building something so close to the idolatry would need the impetus and direction from God alone. Once it was hidden away before the destruction of the first Beit HaMikdash, man alone could not recreate it.